Hi folks! There are lots of vids on YouTube seeking to clarify the differences between particular functions, like TI and TE, FI and FE, etc. We get asked similar questions in our workshops, so this video is to do with comparing functions and to explain the difference between extroverted and introverted functions. So let's review the science first. Here are the cognitive functions for all 16 types. They wouldn't fit on one page, so extroverts first, and now the introverts. The functions above the dotted line are your conscious or ego functions. The remaining 4 are your unconscious functions. Here we're going to focus on the conscious functions, so we remove the unconscious, leaving only the first 4 functions for each type. Notice that all types have 2 perception functions, an S and an N, and 2 judgment functions, an F and a T. All types have 2 extroverted functions and 2 introverted functions. All Psyche-Types have 1 introverted perception function and 1 extroverted perception function, 1 introverted judgment function, and 1 extroverted judgment function. This is because, as Jung noted, the psyche is both balanced and self-rebalancing. You'll also notice that anyone with extroverted sensing also has introverted intuition, and vice versa. Those with introverted intuition also use extroverted sensing. Anyone with extroverted intuition also has introverted sensing, and those with introverted sensing have extroverted intuition. Likewise, with the judgment functions, those with extroverted thinking have introverted feeling. Those with introverted feeling have extroverted thinking. Those with extroverted feeling also have introverted thinking. Those with introverted thinking also have extroverted feeling. There is a relationship between each of these pairs that I will explain in subsequent videos, and which is more thoroughly explained in our advanced course, Psyche-Type 2, What Type Are You? Often people ask, what is the difference between introverted and extroverted feeling, introverted and extroverted thinking, and so on? And the simple answer is, one is used in the inner world, and the other is used in the outer world. And as strange as it may seem, this is where the similarity ends. They perform completely different roles in the psyche. Likewise, introverted and extroverted intuition are not derivatives of the same function. They have entirely different qualities and purposes. In fact, there are no derivative functions in the psyche, yet each function is dependent upon all others. So let's look at the differences between extroverted and introverted functions. Extroverted functions are how we gather and organise external information. These are our interface with the world outside of us. For introverts and extroverts alike, extroverted functions are the face that we present to the outside world, what others see of us. In contrast, our introverted functions are our core values. We don't share these outwardly with others, except through the vehicle of our extroverted functions. Our extroverted functions are our interface with the rest of the world. Our introverted functions are the take-home message, the subjective understandings and interpretations that we retain from those experiences. More specifically, the extroverted functions perform 2 roles. The extroverted perception functions, extroverted sensing and extroverted intuition, govern the types of information we gather and absorb in the outer world. The extroverted judgment functions, extroverted thinking and extroverted feeling, concern how we organise and evaluate that information in the outer world. The introverted perception functions, introverted sensing and introverted intuition, condense and contextualise information internally in relation to self. And the introverted judgment functions, introverted thinking and introverted feeling, organise and evaluate information relative to self's internal subjective values. Now we can compare the functions that have the same role, starting with the extroverted perception functions, extroverted sensing and extroverted intuition. Again, these are the functions that govern what types of information we absorb in the outer world. Extroverted sensing, SE, is highly observant. SE is highly attuned to its own physicality able to move with grace, speed, precision and agility, taking in huge swathes of detailed sensory information in milliseconds. In contrast, extroverted intuition, NE, absorbs very little real-world sensory information. For NE, the object, or the outer world stimulus, is just a springboard for the brainstorming of ideas and possibilities. Extroverted intuition is an avant-garde exploration of ideas, meanings and possibilities, with only the loosest of ties to the real world. The extroverted judgment functions, extroverted thinking and extroverted feeling, are how we organise and evaluate information in the outer world. In this case, extroverted thinking, TE, organises and evaluates according to objective criteria that it shares openly and applies uniformly to all contexts. TE organises and systematises according to objective, standardised reasoning. Extroverted feeling, FE, on the other hand, organises and evaluates according to people principles, navigating information according to others' values and emotional states. FE supports social conventions and seeks to make decisions that will maintain social harmony. The introverted perception functions, introverted sensing and introverted intuition, condense and contextualise information in the inner world. Introverted sensing, SI, condenses and contextualises information within precedential rules that are in turn the product of a vast database of sensory experiences. SI documents detailed information assiduously, referencing and comparing it with past experiences to understand where it fits relative to the rules of how stuff works. For introverted intuition, NI, the condensing and contextualizing process, identifies patterns in disparate pieces of information. NI zooms out to understand where information fits as a symbolic representation of a broader concept or principle. NI DOMs, like myself, also have extroverted sensing, but we miss out on most of the sensory information that SPs pick up because NI only detects the most macroscopic patterns. The introverted judgment functions, introverted thinking and introverted feeling, concern how we internally organise and evaluate information in relation to self. For those with introverted thinking, TI, this is an internal map or blueprint, a framework of logical relationships compiled over time. TI organises and evaluates new information by discerning patterns that fit the map, which is a subjective epistemology of sorts. Introverted feeling, FI, organises and evaluates according to its own personal aesthetic, a subjective sense of what is beautiful and what is ugly. FI doesn't have the rigid categories that TI has. It evaluates information flexibly according to a personal ideal, whether aesthetic or ideological. I hope that these explanations clarify some of the differences between cognitive functions. You can find more detailed information and examples of the cognitive functions in action in our basic course.